Hello everyone, welcome to the series named Conversation with Kushal once again. Today we have a young talented chap named Rohit Sureka. He's working in Brookfield in a private equity firm. And before that, he was working in Bank of America in the investment banking department. And he has secured an All India rank as well in his CA finals, which he cleared in May 2019. So thank you so much, Rohit, for accepting my invitation and coming up on the show. It's going to be a huge pleasure for me to discuss and interact things with you today.
Absolutely. Looking forward to.
Absolutely, man. So first things first, Rohit, could you just brief the entire audience? How was your CA journey, and what were some of the challenges you faced and tackled in your CA journey that has led you to be the man you are today?
To be honest, my CA journey was very average. It's just like any other CA student. Throughout my CA life, I've been an average student. Cleared CPT in one attempt. Cleared IPGC in one attempt. I did my articleship from PwC in stat audit, and yeah, I mean, it's pretty much it. Nothing out of the blue, nothing extraordinary. There was one thing though. I've always focused on finance. One of those things which I have always been interested in. That's what prompted me to do CFA and CS along with my CA course. Um, Pretty much it. And so basically, what happened is when I was on my study leave, I realized that actually I came to know that there are a few firms like BCG, McKinsey, Bain, which will recruit you only if you are a ranker, and that really pushed me to give my 100%. I realized that should not be one of those barriers which prevents me from getting an interview with them. Whether clear or not, clear the interview or not is a different matter altogether. But that should not be a block which prevents me from getting into the industry of my choice.
Right,
So that's how I ended up getting a All India 22nd rank. Um,
right.
yeah, that I think pretty
Awesome.
much sums it.
Yeah, awesome, man. So after you got your ranks in your CA finals, then of course there would have been the special campus placement program, which was organized by ICI. And after that, a lot of companies also approached the rank holders in the off-campus placement as well. So, what was your
Right.
motive behind going to Bank of America, and how did you get to know about the opportunity which was there in Bank of America?
Sure. So, like I said, I've always been interested in finance, and if I remember correctly, I had received an offer from two companies during my campus. One of them was SBI Capital Markets, and second was IMAP. Both of them were really good firms. Um, I think eventually 1 month after my CA campus, I saw a job opening on LinkedIn from Bank of America. The job opening was for the corporate banking role, which seemed interesting at that time. And that's how I started with the interview process. Somewhere along the interview, I did mention to the HR that investment banking would be something which I would like really enjoy doing. In CBK is great, but investment banking seems a lot more fascinating. Do you guys hire for that? And luckily, at that point, they did have a vacancy, and that's how they started shifted the interview process from corporate banking to investment banking.
Right.
Um, yeah, I think I had three or four rounds of interviews, and I was pretty much
Okay.
the only candidate I think interviewing for it. So
Right. So
yeah,
you had like 3 or 4 rounds
I got
of your
lucky in that.
interview. No, I guess that was your hard work and all your interest in finance that was reflected in your interviews, I'm very sure. So you had 3 or 4 rounds of your interviews. So could you just elaborate or maybe guide the entire audience? How should they prepare for interviews if they were to give an interview in an investment bank? And what are some of the questions, typical questions which these interviewers or HR guys ask in the interview?
Sure. So I think the expectation from you is not very high. You're not expected to know, LBO financial models and things like that. But the expectation is that you're well versed with all the financial concepts that you learn in your SFM curriculum. So things like what is enterprise value, how do you value a company, what's the difference between valuing the company on an EV EBITDA versus P by E, which valuation makes more sense for which type of company. How would you value a company which has like no EBITDA or negative EBITDA, or what are the different ways you could value the company? There could be DCF, there could be a transaction comp comparison or trade comps comparison, things like that. They could ask you questions on accounting, for example. Let me give you a simple example. If an accountant made a mistake in charging depreciation for the company, if the depreciation was overcharged, and if you had to rectify that, how would you rectify that, and what would be the impact on the P&L and the balance sheet and the cash flow?
Okay.
Things
Hmm.
like that. So obviously, I mean, you can't really go wrong there because you are a CA. It's a basic expectation that you'll be able to do that, right? Engineer could get away with making one or two mistakes there, but CA I think is unforgivable there.
Right. And were there any case studies which mention that you need to prepare a financial model for this company, or whether this stock, according to you, is overvalued or undervalued? What would be your view? Were there some case studies like this?
No, no. At least
Okay.
at Bank of America, there was no such requirement.
Okay. All right. And so was that a full-time role, or was that some internship of 6 months and then
No,
that
so
was
Bank of
okay?
America has a very interesting concept. They hire two interns in any given year. They have had a strong preference for chartered accountants in the past. Basically, the internship is for a period of 6 months initially. If they like you, they extend the internship by another 6 months, and during that time, they try to convert you into a full-time role. So
Okay.
my internship has started in Jan, and I received a full-time offer, I think somewhere around September. That's how
Okay.
the process was. And
Right.
even though it's an internship, you work in a really small team. It's a
Hmm.
proper front office role. So it's not like the JP Morgan CRG department or one of the mid offices. It's a proper front office role where you work with Indian clients
Oh,
and you
wow.
work alongside 10 associates who are generally from IIM Calcutta, Bangalore, Ahmedabad. So it's a
Right.
proper role. The only difference is that it's basically you have to prove your mettle. You have to prove yourself before you get a track role.
Right. Absolutely, man. So even if you were an intern, but I am sure you would have to work for 16, 17 hours a day, and even on weekends, you will have to
Yeah.
slog off when the live deals are going on. So how was your overall experience at Bank of America, and what was the work profile which was there? So could you just guide in maybe simple terms what work you used to do there?
Sure. So, like I said, it was a proper front office role, and the work was similar to what a analyst would do in that kind of bank, right? I think around 70% of the work revolved around making pitches, making PPTs, for potential clients for getting new business. 20-30% of the work revolved around making financial models, analyzing companies, stuff like that. And
Right.
that's typical of any investment bank for that matter.
Right.
The work hours were really gruesome. So you ended up working anywhere between 15 to 16 hours a day. The expectation was that you had to work more than analyst or associate for the most part of it. And I don't think I took any weekends off. Most of the weekends were working. I don't
Oh,
recollect
okay.
a weekend when I, had some time off. So
Okay.
obviously, there was no concept of work-life balance for the most part. Work, 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 work.
So don't you
Yeah.
feel sometimes, or maybe this thought didn't come to your mind that my other friends are getting some personal space, or maybe they are also enjoying some of the other time. Even I should enjoy or have that personal space. So how you used to tackle this thought, or maybe how you used to just maintain that balance?
So I think, like I said, finance was always the goal, and I knew it from the beginning that the work hours were going to be bad. In fact, if you go online, do a simple search on investment banking working hours, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that you won't have a work-life balance. So I pretty much made peace with it while joining the place. And I think, although the long work hours are a downside, but at the same time, the learning curve is very steep. So the amount of learning that you get over a period of 3 months or 6 months would be equivalent to, I think, 4-5 years of a normal job trajectory, right? You get to learn about a lot of new industries. You interact with really smart people, and it really opens up your mind. I mean, I think it's a great way to start your career. Great training ground. Anything after that is going to be easier. It can't get more difficult.
Right, man. Absolutely.
So
I guess
that's
that's
how I
very
looked at it.
inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very inspiring. Indeed, a lot of people think that like just working for 16, 17 hours, okay, so that is going to be very hectic. So I'll choose a company where I just have to work for 8, 9 hours a day. But I agree, this is the right age where we can work the most. And if we can utilize this or take advantage of this opportunity, then in the future it'll be very easier for us to learn anything or grasp any new thing. So that's the major advantage which I think you've got from your experience at Bank of America as well.
The important thing is to remember that it's not going to be a lifelong,
Right.
the work hours are not going to continue with you lifelong, right? It's a period of 2, 3 years where you have to really struggle a lot, and then it only gets easier from there.
Right,
I
man.
think that
Absolutely.
helps.
That's the attitude. Yeah, I guess that's the correct attitude. And if people have this kind of attitude, then of course, like their growth trajectory would be at a much larger scale as compared to other people. So the main question or most interesting question which everyone would want to ask you. So you got an offer from Bank of America, but still, I guess you didn't accept that offer. So you moved out to another opportunity, or how was it then?
So it was a mix of situations, circumstances, and the end goal. I've always wanted to get into buy side, and you can't get into buy side unless you have some work experience in investment banking or consulting, right? So the only purpose of getting into investment banking was to move eventually to the buy side. Uh, like I said, the entire program at Bank of America is basically an internship, and there's a lot of uncertainty around whether you get a extension of the internship, whether you will be considered for a full-time role. So you by the time you are in the fourth or fifth month, you start looking for alternative opportunities. Plan B, Plan C, those kinds of things. And the same thing happened with me. While I received an extension from Bank of America, I had already started looking for opportunities outside. I started looking for opportunities because of the uncertainty around, the Bank of America role. And eventually, things worked out in a really strange way because I ended up getting a full-time offer from Bank of America and an offer from Brookfield on the same day in almost hour gap. You know,
Okay.
and before that, I had no idea that I'd receive a full-time offer from Bank of America. So it put me in a really tough spot. I think I would have loved to continue at Bank of America, but given my long-term goals and where I saw myself down the line, I realized it made perfect sense to jump into a buy-side role. So that's how I
Right.
ended up going to Brookfield.
Right. I guess that would have been one of the best days of your life when you had got an offer from Bank of America and Brookfield. Like both the
Still
one of
does
the best
not
days.
still does not beat the day I got my rank.
Okay. I thought getting offers from Bank of America and Brookfield that would have been better than getting a
Not
rank in
really.
CA finals. No?
For me, the rank always, beats the so the efforts that I put in over a
Right.
period of 5 months and the focus
Yeah.
that I had, determination to get a rank, and not knowing till the end moment of what's going to happen, and then seeing that rank on the screen, that's a feeling which I don't think can beat any other feeling in life.
True that one. True that.
That's a tough
Awesome.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So now, like, what you got into Brookfield as well, and you started giving your interviews in Brookfield as well. So could you just maybe explain us how was your interview process at Brookfield, and mainly you can cover the points which were different from the interview you had given in Bank of America. So I'm assuming that there might be some different points which both these recruiters would test. So if you could just highlight some of the differentiating points in the interview process at Brookfield, that'll be great.
Yeah, so basically the expectation at Brookfield was very different compared to Bank of America. At Brookfield, they were so in any buy side, not just Brookfield. The team sizes are very small. You work in a very small team size, and nobody really has the time to teach you things, invest time and teach you basic concepts. So the expectation is always that you come from a place like Bank of America, come from investment banking and consulting, and have your concepts cleared. They want someone who can hit the ground running, and that's what the interview process is all about. So you end up meeting every team member. There are multiple rounds of interviews, can range from 5 to 7 rounds of interviews, and in each round of interview you meet one of the team members. They're basically testing for a couple of things. One, the cultural fit. How would you fit in the team? Because it's a small team, you can't really go wrong there. They are trying to see whether you have the technical skills required for the job. So they want to see your modeling skills, the kind of work that you have done in Bank of America or in your previous jobs. Uh, they also have a case study round where they extensively check your mindset. How do you approach models? How do you approach the investment decisions? Like whether you want to invest in a company or not. Those kinds of things. So overall, the process is much more exhaustive, and yeah, basically the focus on these three, four things. cultural
Right.
fit, soft skills, technical skills, and your modeling skills.
Right. Get it. And how did you get to know about this opportunity in Brookfield? Because I assume that Brookfield doesn't come in the campus placements and all, right? So how was it possible for you to get an opportunity here?
So almost all the hiring in any PE fund generally takes place through headhunters. These
Through? I'm
headhunters,
sorry. Through?
headhunters,
Okay.
headhunters.
Okay.
Basically, Michael Page, Native, Scramble, these kind of places.
Okay.
They act as gateways between you and the PE firm.
So are these like some campus placement agencies, like which connect you to the firms and the candidate?
They are executive search firms. So generally, when a company wants to hire a CEO, CFO, that's where they take the help of someone like Michael Page. They act as aggregators in that
Right.
sense.
Get it. Get it. You shifted to Brookfield and you're working in Brookfield as of now as well. So could you just throw some light on your work profile in Brookfield? And again, how is it different from your work profile at Bank of America?
So, to recollect, I said that in Bank of America, the work was 80% making PPTs, 20-30% was making financial models. And for the most part, in investment banking, as an analyst or associate, you essentially act as a foot soldier. You are responsible for executing commands, and the focus is on, or your KPI is basically how well can you execute it. How quickly and how efficiently, without any mistakes, can you make the presentations, make the financial models, things like that. When you move to a buy side role, the focus entirely changes on analytical skill sets. So basically, there you are focused on analyzing whether this company would make sense. Why should I invest in the company? Whether it would beat my hurdle rate, the basic return requirement, whether it's the industry where I want to invest. It should not have any ESG concerns. How is the promoter? How is the founder? Whether there are any corporate governance issues, whether the size is big enough, whether ticket size is big enough for my fund, things like that. So the entire approach changes. Here you receive pitch books from investment bankers.
Right.
That's a complete shift in mindset.
Right. Get it, man. And since you work in a private equity now and you also work in investment banking, like these are some of the dream companies where all the CAs want to get into. So what is that one advice which you would like to give to all the people who are watching, maybe who are in their articleship phase or who have just cleared their CA finals, that one piece of advice which can help them climb the ladder to get into investment banking or private equity? So what are some of the habits which they should have or maybe some steps they should follow to get into private equity ultimately?
So, look, first of all, I would want to say that, don't watch billions and, get into finance. It's not all, how do I put it? It's not like a movie, it's not like Wall Street.
Right.
The work hours are really long, and you'll be able to sustain in this kind of field only if you're actually interested in finance. So
Hmm.
first of all, make sure that you have a passion for finance. Uh, Second is, some people really want a work-life balance in their life. So I'm saying work-life balance is different for everyone. For some, it's a 9 to 5 job. For me personally, work-life balance has always been about, the me being available for the firm, for the company where I work when I'm required, and when I need some time off, the company is there for me. When I have a personal crisis, if I need to take some time off, the company should be able to accommodate that. That's how I look at work-life balance. It's not a 9 to 5 job.
Right.
And thirdly, what's also important to remember here is that, irrespective of which field you are from, what educational background you have, the problem with finance, with investment banking or PE for that matter, is that the requirement is very low. The number of people required in the
Hmm.
industry as a whole is very low. Um, so irrespective of whether you are a CA or a IITN or a IIM graduate, it's always difficult. The competition is intense, and it's never going to be. There's no one straightforward way of getting in. It's not like you do ABC and then you get, three things, and you are able to get a direct job with an investment bank. That being said, things that could help. CFA definitely helps. It shows that you have the passion for finance, and you have the technical skills required. CA background obviously helps. You can try taking the capital market select. You should definitely invest in the stock market, and not just invest in the stock market on the basis of some tips. Read research reports, read annual reports, understand the company, find out reasons on why you'd want to invest in a company. That kind of mindset that will be really helpful, especially if you are looking for a role in buy side.
Right. Get it, man. I guess like those are quite useful even for all the students who are going to watch this and who ultimately want to get in the field of finance. Thanks, man. Thanks a lot for taking out your time. It was indeed a very insightful discussion with you. And wish you all the best for all your future endeavors. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, man.